Recording live at the spot. It's Music City Records, the spot on YouTube. This is our page. And I'm here this afternoon with Sister Teresa. And I sure do appreciate her coming by the store to do this little small interview. She's written a new book. Can you hold it up so we can get it on? Okay, the name of the book is called Crack Wheat. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you, Sister Teresa.
You said something you wanted me to talk about the first book that I wrote.
Oh yeah, here's the
Yeah.
first book you wrote too.
Yeah,
This is a second book. Okay,
Yeah.
let me hold it. Okay, I got it. Okay, coming to Graham time. All right.
Uh, this Gramptown is my little community, and I want to say the history because there's so much history with so much history the way it started. Grahamtown started, and I love my little town, Grahamtown, North Carolina, in the middle of Forest City. They call it the Forest City, the friendly town, but that's kind of, you know,
Yeah,
it's not so friendly.
that's right.
But yeah, but anyway, in 1995, I started writing this little book while sitting at my mother was in a nursing home, and she slept all the time. So I said, well, I'll try to write something. I'll just, write something. And so one of the nurses, they said, well, why don't you write about your history? I said, I'll write about my Grahamtown where I live. It started out, the reason why it's named John Graham, Grahamtown, it was named after the first black man that did a house there. The first black house in Grahamtown. And he was a gambler.
Mm-hmm.
And he would go off and gamble and get all this money. Even my mother would help iron the money out. So that's how Grahamtown started, and people started moving from Spartanburg and South Carolina and all those little places. Cut it off and go ahead.
No, we can go ahead.
All those.
I must put my best customer, one of my best customers, the Tav Miller, in there.
Hi,
In the picture, he just come in to do a little shopping.
Okay.
But just keep on going. Have you got this book, Tav?
I had one of them we had when we had a meet she gave me.
Okay, you're gonna have to get. Well, she got a new one out too now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When you gonna publish?
But
About
November.
Okay. Well, you make sure I get one.
Okay. All right.
How much is it?
We don't know yet. I think it ain't gonna be no more than $10 because
Okay.
people are poor here,
Well.
and pandemic, let me finish telling about how I started Grahamtown. Well, I was sitting by my mother's bed in a nursing home, and I heard so many stories about Grahamtown and about the people in Grahamtown. And it was one man, first black man that worked for the Coca-Cola plant, Mr. Flan Dunham. And I called Mr. Flan Dunham and told him I wanted to write the history of Grahamtown. And he wrote 13 pages of the history of Grahamtown, and he gave it to me. And that's where I started all that information. And I would go from city to city,
Put my dough there.
and the elders would tell me so much
In the car.
In my van out there.
about the struggles of living in
I think we need a key.
Grahamtown, and story was
Go ahead
told
with
about
business with
no education and how they were treated. And
Yeah, over there by the garbage. They in a box.
And
So what I do, get to
I
it?
just
Just get out.
recaptured
Just get the whole box.
scenes in their mind, and I wanted this book to be a permanent hallmark in the community because Grahamtown just came up 1926 from nothing, and they had They had black stores then. They had mom and pop stores, and they they had churches, and they had houses with flowers, flower yards, and people were so kind to each other then. You could go and borrow an egg, a cup of sugar, and I just wanted this book to be a hallmark in the community, and all this, all the stories in here are true about how they came to Ramtown on freight trains and wagons, and I remember Mr. Paul Wheel coming with all his people, 1927, in a wagon. And I remember they was telling me about how he joined Old Grove Baptist Church and got a choir, and the first choir that Old Grove had, it was on the radio. And the first church that they had was named after Reverend Jackson, and he had a stump, a oak stump. That's where he started preaching, on that oak stump out there near where they got the community building. And then Mr. Weathers saw him out there preaching on that stump, and he gave him that plot of land where Oak Grove now is sitting for a church. And that's where Oak Grove got its name, Oak Grove. But the history has gone down. They they have embellished that history of Oak Grove. But Paul Will came from South Carolina, and in a wagon with his family, and started a choir. And Paul Will was the first man to have a choir on the radio. And that was really, really odd he must could sing. I just remember him driving that wagon. I didn't remember him singing, but he's the first. He even got a certificate for singing in the community and all around. Well, anyway, that's how Grahamtown started. They had mom and pop stores. They had mechanics. They had the Jacksons was the number one bricklayers, and white people just come and got them to even build the Presbyterian church over there. But their name is not on the cornerstone, and they were famous. Everybody would come and get the Jacksons, Mr. Rob Jackson, and I forgot Miss Austin Blanche.
Albert T. Jackson?
No, Albert T. wasn't even born then.
Not Albert T., but his
but
daddy.
It just went down from generation to the bricklayers. It went down from generation to generation.
Mr. T. Jackson.
Mr. T. Jackson and his brothers from Hornline. They the one would build the cornerstone. Everybody would come and get them to build the cornerstone. But Grahamtown has always been in my heart. We didn't even know anything about bad times hardly in Grahamtown, because we were treated very well by our people. A. Marley Crooks and Miss Mamie Smith was the midwife, and she would work with the white doctors, and we found out that Miss Mamie Smith was keeping all the babies that she delivered on a piece of paper, and she would turn it in at the end of the year. All the babies was born the same day. And my cousin was supposed to be George, and he went to get his birth certificate. I went with him up at Rutherford, and his name was Georgetta. Miss Mamie Smith had put Georgetta, and he said, oh my goodness, he said, how come this is, and she said, well, they turned it in like this, and he said, Georgetta is a girl, you name. So what they did, they just took a pencil and just put a line through his name and put George down, But ain't Mamie Smith. Then they had another one, Miss Alice Squall. Yeah, she was one of the mothers of the community. Then they had Miss Lizzie Mean. Miss Lizzie Mean weighed about 300 pounds, and she delivered babies, you know. But the church, the first church, they had two churches, the AME Zion Church, New Bethel, and then they had Oak Grove. Both of them was just about the same time, built at just about the same time, you know. At Oak Grove Baptist Church, Mr. A.C. Watkins had 18 kids, built up Oak Grove. New Bethel AME Zion, oh Lord, let me put my, Mr. Hilton, that was the janitor of the white school, he had 19 kids, so they built up New Bethel. But it was a glorious time. It was a really, I didn't know how happy I was at that age with growing up in Grahamtown, and I still love it. I still love my Grahamtown and all the books that I write. It seems like everything I write comes right back to Grahamtown. At the end, it comes right back to Grahamtown because it was so much love. It was so much love during that time in Grahamtown. You know, the snows, don't have no snows anymore like they used to have in when I was growing up. They had a little small school, Grahamtown Elementary, and then they built another little horse-looking building. They call it Grahamtown High School. But it was a lot of joy. It was really, really a wonderful time at that time, but we didn't know how lucky we were and peaceful. Well, some of the bad stuff, some of the good stuff overturned the bad stuff. We couldn't go in some of the stores in Forest City and couldn't visit. You had to go in the back, you know. And the only one that we could go in and clothes was try on clothes was Horn, Ballard Horn, and his brother. They had so much in that store until they didn't even know what they had. There was the Logan Hardware. It's been there since a long time. Then there was Dalton store. Those are the stores that we could really, really go in and be comfortable because everybody thought you would steal something and they would follow you, you know. But I wanted this book just to be
Get them down.
just to be educational book because of
I'll bring them by.
and want to relive
Where's Park? Right there.
and
the
retell
first-
the stories
right there
of
by
all
that
the
trash can.
individuals and
You know.
that how they
Messing
had
us up that
skills
way.
with no
Oh,
education and
Okay, I'll bring it over
the
there.
spirit of
Somebody
sharing
got it.
and giving.
Go ahead and talk.
It was just you were just almost a family. Just almost a family. I had no brothers, and everybody, every man in the neighborhood was our uncle. Uncle Dave Baxter, Uncle Will, what's his name? Will Suba, and we just called all of them uncle because my daddy was close to him. He was very close to him, and we had no brothers, and my uncle James Price had boys, and so we called them brothers. And my mother would ask, when we went any place, my mother would ask them, is that place all right? But they would always say no, we couldn't go.
Here's mine.
He gonna go ahead
Oh.
and give you the money for your book.
Oh, okay, darling.
You know what?
Yeah.
Or you can leave it over here. I'm gonna help her sell some.
No, she either way, but she know what they either way.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm sorry, I have to apologize for not coming to see you.
You know what? Hey, with this stuff going on, it'd be best, just see me when you see me, not
That's
see me
right.
when I see you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
Like
truth.
Bo, I hadn't been on Bo since it really started.
Yeah. I talk to him on the phone every day. Though.
Yeah, that's
But
about
anyway,
all
I'm
you
sorry for interrupting y'all.
Oh, it's okay.
That's
I
all right.
wanted to get you on the interview anyway because you're a Vietnam veteran.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but
You're part of the community.
hey, one day.
Yeah. Okay, Miss Gun.
Well,
Miss Bennings.
anyway, this little moving to Grahamtown, uh, I just wanted to tell about, when people, it's history here. This is a
Yeah.
lot of history in Grahamtown.
Right. Right.
With the,
Okay, but this is what I would like to do. Now, I got this as part of history to be on this page that I'm doing. Now, let's talk about the new book that you have written.
Oh, this one.
But don't give me too much.
I'm not going to give you too much.
Too much about it because we want the people to come and buy.
Right, yeah.
But we just want to let them know that it's called Crack Wheat,
Mm-hmm.
Teresa Price Bennings, and it's going to be available in November. And can you tell our audience what inspired you to write this book?
This young man, this black author from Charlotte, it had a black author.
Let me see this one, and
Okay.
then you can hold that one.
Okay. I used to go to Charlotte to his class,
Uh-huh.
and that's the one that told me to give him 5 pages, and let him read them.
But one story that you got in that book at the beginning, it's about. You tell me what it's about. I mean, without giving the whole book away.
Yeah. Well, it starts off with this black man. You know how old black ladies used to go to somebody's house and just take over, and it's about this old black woman went to this farm looking for work, and the man hired her right away.
Let's turn it around. Okay, go ahead. Uh-huh.
Hired her right away, and she just took over the house. And the wife was pregnant, and the man was so glad to see her. He just asked her, "Can you cook?"
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, my mammy was a cook, my grandmammy was a cook, and I was a cook, And he stood up there and looked at her, and she saw these chickens out there in the yard. She went out there and wrung one of them's head off, and the chicken just started running, And that's how she started just taking over the kitchen, taking over the woman, the wife, because she was sick, and the wife was pregnant and sick, and she just took over the house, and almost took over the farm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because they had she's very strong. But what was so fascinating about it, she had 2 different color eyes. One was blue, and the other one was brown. And this man that owned the farm couldn't get over this black lady with 2 different color eyes. And so she just took right away. They just took right away with this heavy-set, brown-skinned woman, and she had a little black, how they have sacks, croaker sacks, where she had her little weeds and stuff in this croaker sack. And that's how she started making teas and stuff for the woman that was sick, the man's wife. And she would go into the woods. She knew a lot. Her grandmammy taught her a lot about trees and leaves and stuff, But she was a blessing. She really was a blessing to that. This was in Saluda, North Carolina. And I just don't want to tell all, but she really was the head. She just took over that woman's household and helped this man a lot. And when the little child was born, she took over him too. And he gave her a name, Old Black Crow, because she tanned his hide and whooped and wash his mouth out with soap when he say some bad things. And she just raised that little boy. And the when he got grown, the daddy, she stayed there till he went away to college. And the daddy died, and she and Uncle Lewis, who was the old black man that had ran away from his master and the farm, and they ran his farm until this black guy, this man, come out college, and he was a different kind of person when he went away, and when he came back, he was a different person, and things just started going sad, going downhill. When he came in he went to a school in Atlanta, Georgia, and she was always healing somebody up there in the mountains, They heard about she could heal people, and even white people would come, and she would give them stuff to heal the people, and she wouldn't take no money. She would not take any money. But people back then, they would give you canned fruit, little handkerchiefs or something when they didn't have any money to give you, But
But now
anyway,
you saying that the lady was practicing medicine and she would go out in the woods and
Woods.
get the roots,
that's right. That's
and
what
she would like tea or something, make tea and
tea and salve and and stuff like that, and
from out of what she got
yeah,
from the woods.
yeah, from the woods. She learned from her grandmother about the trees and the leaves and the flowers.
Now, what year are we talking about?
We're talking about from 1952.
1952. It wasn't a lot of antibiotics and
It
a lot of
wasn't nothing.
penicillin and
No, it
stuff like that.
no.
It wasn't hadn't been developed yet.
No, it hadn't been developed. And back then, it was all you had then. Big diseases was
Polio.
potent and something else, TB.
Yeah, TB, tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuberculosis, TB. Men had the syphilis,
Yeah.
and white men went to her. She finally made her way to Forest City, left that farm and went to Forest City and got one of the biggest business in Forest City, in Grahamtown. And white men come there for syphilis,
Uh-huh.
a bad disease, we say.
Right.
And the black men come there for love potions.
Mm-hmm.
But when she went blind, she could tell the difference. When you walked up on that porch, she knew when it was a white man or either a black person.
Now, it's mostly everything in the book is true, or some of it is made up.
Some of it is made up because I had to, because I didn't want to get sued.
Yeah.
But
I know sometimes
I
you can.
changed the names
Yes.
to
Yes.
protect people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to protect people.
Well, I'm sure it would be a good, pleasant book to read for the whole entire family, and I want to wish you a lot of success with it. And I just hope that maybe we can do another part 2 to this interview about cracked corn.
Crack wheat.
I mean, cracked wheat. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
cracked wheat.
Yeah,
Now-
because it was that's a part that's really really interesting when this man, the child that she raised, the white child that she raised, got this black girl pregnant.
Oh, okay. Now we going into another part of it now.
Another part of
Okay,
it, yeah.
so we not gonna give all of it away.
No,
But
it's
we
very
gonna-
interesting because it happened. Like white men used to get,
Yeah.
black folks pregnant, black women, But this little girl was raped.
Yes.
Yeah, this little girl was raped in a farm.
Okay.
Because Aunt Gussie raised her.
Now, what was Aunt Gus's last name?
Don't know,
Okay.
cause we never did know.
Right,
We never
right.
did know where she came from.
Okay.
You know, she just came to that looking for a job, looking for work,
Yeah.
and cause she came and the men was still fixing on the house,
Yeah.
and then they saw somebody coming up the road, and they said, hey, somebody coming to your house.
Okay.
Yeah.
For time permitting, give me one more story that's in the book. One more, just a small chapter. Now, I like that about the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the man married a woman down in the city of Saluda,
Uh-huh.
and she wasn't used to black people, and she wasn't used to the country,
Mm-hmm.
but she knew that she had a good catch because the man had property.
Yeah.
The man had won all this land in New York, and he come to Saluda. He had deeds to it. So he married this white woman and brought her up there in the country.